Hi there, and thank you for watching our video today. This session will be covering how to complete the required monthly reporting for the Child Care Stabilization Grant, also referred to as CCSG, and it will also include a reporting for the CCSG workforce amount. First, I would like to note that reporting is required monthly. It is the grantee's responsibility to remember to report. I recommend creating a monthly calendar reminder, either in your phone or in your computer, wherever you get alerted most. You will have the full month to report for the previous month. If you miss the monthly reporting deadline, you will not qualify for the next month's grant award. For example, in September, you will be reporting for August. You have until September 30th to report for August. If you miss the September 30th deadline, you will not receive your October grant award. If you miss the deadline, it's important to submit your late report as soon as possible to be eligible for future grant award payments. To submit your CCSG monthly report, you'll want to start by going to our website. You can see our website address here at the top of the screen, des.az.gov/services/child-and-family/child-care. From this website page, in the left menu, you'll want to click on Child Care Stabilization Grant. On this page, you'll find all of our information about the stabilization grant. But one thing I want to point out is this resources tab. If you click on the gray bar, it will drop down some of our resources. For the purposes of reporting, you'll want to reference our CCSG reporting guide and our cost reporting worksheet, which we will share more about later. To go ahead and submit your report, you'll want to click on the gray bar for CCSG monthly report portal. From here, you'll want to scroll down. It will provide you some information about reporting, but you're looking for the blue link. And when you click on the blue link, it will alert you that this is going to take you away from the DES main webpage and take you to our reporting portal site. You'll want to hit OK, and then it will pop up to the report portal. The portal has two sections for reporting. Section 1, previous month reporting. This is going to ask you about the previous month's open and closure status of your program, any planned closures coming up. It's going to ask about your staffing, your child enrollment, and wait lists by age. Section 2 is going to ask you about total grant expenditures. This is reporting how you have spent your grant funds since the beginning of the grant. So since your first grant payment received, how have you spent those funds as it totals, it's a running total. Again, here's a link to our website. You can also go des.az.gov/CCSG. And I recommend bookmarking that page so that you can easily find the portal as well as our resources. Now to start, you're going to want to find your name in the dropdown. It is a dropdown of a lot of providers. So one tip is to start typing your name. And today I am test provider. And once you select your name here, it's going to automatically filter the other fields to your specific information. If you notice your information is incorrect, it is important to notify the grants team at childcaregrants@azdes.gov. So I'm going to go ahead and finish selecting my information. Note that if you are a DES contracted provider that is a certified family child care provider or a non-certified relative family child care provider, you will not have a DHS license number, but it will say DES only in the dropdown, so you still will want to fill in that field. Next, you want to select your month of reporting. It is always going to be the previous month. So if I am in the month of September, I will select August for my reporting month. As you can see, when I selected that, it then gave me more options to complete my report. In the next question, it is asking for that previous month for August 2022, did you close more than 14 days? Here you will want to answer yes or no. Please note that if you're a non-certified relative provider or an NCRP, you will want to answer yes if you did stop caring for the DES authorized relative child in the month. If you answer yes, it will ask for an explanation and the dates of your closure. So please write why you had the closure and the dates. In the next question, we're asking, do you have any planned closures coming up? Same thing here. If you hit yes, it will ask you to please explain and include the dates of your closure. Note that here we are trying to get at any closures over 14 days. So you do not need to report closures for just for one holiday or planned closures under 14 days. Our next question is, how many childcare employees providing direct care to children in the classroom were employed on the last day of, in this example, August 2022? You would just simply enter the number of employees that were employed. If you are a non-certified relative provider or a family child care provider without staff, just put 1 to count for yourself. In the next question, how many child care employees providing direct care to children in the classroom left employment in August of 2022? You would just enter in the number, and then that field is complete. If you are a non-certified relative provider or a family child care provider with no staff, you may just put a 0 in this field. Next question is, how many children attended at least one day in August of 2022 for this example? And here you want to take your overall enrollment of how many children were in attendance. So a child may have attended on the first day of the month, but they may not have come the other days of the month. They do count as one child. And if you have a child that attends every day in the month, they account as one child. So then you now have 2 with those 2 examples. So we're trying to get a picture of how many children were in your attendance. So you would just simply enter that number. I'm making up these numbers, so if they don't fall in ratio, don't blame me. In August of 2022, did you have a wait list for your program? Just yes or no. Please note that if you say yes, it is going to pop up more questions. So if you had a wait list, then we want to know, is it due to staff shortage? Just yes or no. And then what ages did you have a wait list for? And you want to check all that apply right there. Now we're going into section 2. Section 2 is all about your grant spending. This is total grant expenditures. We do have resources available on the website for you to help make this easier. And Carla, who's on the line with me, is going to go over how to use those resources to make your reporting easier at the end of this call. So you'll start with your personnel costs. If you had personnel costs since the beginning of the grant that you have spent grant funds on, you'll want to go ahead and enter your dollar amount here. If you did not have any personnel costs that you've used the spending for, you'll put a 0. But anything over a 0 will trigger the additional set of questions. So I put in my personnel costs, and now it's going to ask me how many employees were impacted by my personnel spending. And these questions are specific to the grant funding. So here we'll say 20. Have you ever received the CCSG workforce amount? This is where the workforce reporting comes in. If you are now a workforce amount recipient, you'll want to click yes. And here we have a self-attestation. I have increased employee wages or benefits since receiving the Child Care Stabilization Grant. You'll just click the self-attestation. Then it will ask, please select how grant funds were spent on personnel. Here are the approved categories of personnel spending. You have payroll and wage supplements, bonuses, health, dental, and vision insurance, retirement contributions, paid time off, including paid sick or family leave, free or reduced cost childcare benefit, paid time off for professional development and training, reimbursements for tuition costs for certificate or degree program, and reimbursement stipends for teachers' out-of-pocket costs for classroom supplies. You want to just check all that apply and go on to the next category. The next category is rent, mortgage, and utilities. Here you want to go ahead and put in how much you spent there. And then it will pop up with the additional selection of categories that you spent it in. Your choices here are rent, mortgage payments, utilities, and insurance. Check all that apply. You probably won't have rent and mortgage. You have one or the other, and you may have utilities and insurance. Then facility maintenance or improvements. If you had any of those, you'll want to enter your dollar amount. And here you'll select all of the categories specific to facility maintenance and improvement that you spent it on. You have minor renovations, building or upgrading playgrounds, renovations to improve accessibility. Check all that apply. Goods and services is your next category. So you'll want to enter in how much you've spent in that category. In this one, it doesn't have any additional drop downs. You'll go to personal protective equipment. This is your masks, gloves, cleaning supplies. So we'll just say we spent 200 there. Then equipment and supplies for public health emergency. We'll enter in there, and here it gives us the pop down to please select how the funds were spent in the equipment and supplies for public health emergency category. We have a choice of technology and business software upgrades to respond to COVID-19 public health emergency, or other equipment and supplies to respond to the COVID-19 public health emergency. I'll check all that apply. And then mental health supports. And it's going to ask you if you spent them on staff or children. Check all that apply. If you did both, you'll just check both. Now, what I have highlighted here in blue is the total grant expenditures. It added up all the fields that I entered, and it said I spent $48,700. This you'll use to cross-check your documentation to see if there's a match. If this number is less than what you have in your tracking and your spending that Carla's going to show you more of, then you know that you have misentered something. So you can kind of use this as a check before you hit the submit. Next, the question is going to ask you, have you spent all your grant funds? So in some cases, you may be saving up for a larger purchase and may not have spent all your funds. So you'll just want to answer yes or no. If you have spent them all, just check yes. If you haven't, check no. When you check no, it will ask you, which categories do you plan on spending your grant on? And just check all the categories that apply. The next question is, can DES or a grant evaluation partner contact you to learn more about your responses and provide additional details if applicable? Yes or no. Next, it is important to retain this report for your reference. Please provide an email address to receive a copy of your form responses. You are required to submit an email address here, and when you do, your responses will be sent to your email for your records. It's very important to download those and save them. And then we have received lots of requests for a second copy to be sent to somebody else. So we've provided you a second field to enter in a supplemental email address. So maybe you have a finance office or an administrator that you would like to send it to as well, and you can put their email. Then you will hit the submit button. So that is the reporting portal as it's going to look starting September 1st. So from here, I would like to switch over to my colleague Carla to review some tools and resources that will help you complete this total grant expenditures section. And I'll pass it on over to you, Carla.
Thank you, Tracy. In this section, we are going to look at the cost reporting worksheet provided by DES. The first note while we're in tab A or tab 1, as Tracy is showing us, I want to talk about some best business practices. For many of you, you may already have some practices in place for monthly reporting. I'm going to encourage you to use the cost reporting worksheet for the stabilization grant that DES has provided for easy access for you, your accountant, and other professionals that work for your program. In addition, because DES will be familiar with this worksheet, this will be an easy resource if you are audited or you need to provide additional documentation. So while not required, we highly, highly encourage that you are using this tool on a regular basis. Another note that I want to talk to you about is although receipts will not be required to be submitted monthly, they do need to be kept for at least 5 years in case your program is selected for monitoring by DES. So we want to talk about some best practices. We recommend that you download a free scanning app to a tablet or a smartphone and scan and organize your receipts. Because we know receipts fade over time, sometimes within months, we want to make sure that you're keeping those receipts and records and keep them in a file. We also recommend that you save to a cloud-based platform and to an external hard drive. So while you may save your worksheet and receipts onto your desktop, you also want to make sure that you have those backed up. So again, to a cloud-based platform or an external hard drive. And the recommendation when you're saving your worksheet each month is that you also have a file. So for example, August 2022 folder, upload all of your receipts into that folder, your bank statements, your other documentation, and your worksheet. The next month, do the same thing so that you have all of that in one easy location if you need to do that. Reporting will be much easier by using this worksheet, and because it will clearly add all of your totals, and you'll be able to take the totals from this page and put them on your report in section 2 that Tracy showed you earlier in this webinar. One last best business practice that I want to recommend to you is, as business owners and business managers, we need to spend time each week and each month working in our business. And in order to do that, we need to set aside time. And because we're busy professionals, we can sometimes forget what we spent our funds on. So might I recommend that you set aside time in your calendar each week, at least each month, but preferably each week, to work in your business, to pull up your receipts, to save them and scan them into your file, and to enter them into your worksheet. That way, you will not be scrambling and at the end of the month to get your report in, and unfortunately, maybe even get it in too late. So because we want you to have accurate records and do so timely, we really recommend that you spend time in your business. And of note, before we move on from this page, there is a link in the middle of the page on this sheet that will take you to the reporting portal. So easy access right here from the worksheet. Let's look now at the next tab where we're talking about our grant award received. Each month, as a provider, you will enter in your regular amount that you have received for your child care stabilization grant. And as we go down, you can see once the workforce amount became, you became eligible for the workforce amount, you have a secondary amount. It is very important that you divide out those amounts. If you're not sure what those amounts are, you can refer to page 19 in your guide to help you with that. I want to make special note that DHS certified group homes that do not have staff, DES non-certified relative providers, and DES certified family child care providers are not required to break down the grant by the workforce amount. All other providers on the worksheet will be required to break down the amounts. And again, those amounts are easy accessible for you on page 19 of the workforce guide. Thank you, Tracy. As you can see, as you're entering each month your regular amount for the stabilization grant and the workforce amount, the total grant award is being totaled for you. You do not have to worry about adding anything up, and it will be easily transferred back to tab 1. All right, let's go on to the next tab. So when we are looking at our personnel cost, again, this reporting worksheet gives you drop downs to help you in each of the sections. You have months by month and year, and you have categories. And if you're unsure, we give you costs to look for at the very top. So when we are talking about, there have been lots of questions about what do personnel costs mean? What does that mean? What does that include? So we want you to have some little tips. So some costs to look for: payroll wage supplements, bonuses, health, dental, and vision insurance, retirement contributions, paid time off, including paid sick or family leave, free reduced cost childcare benefit for staff, paid time off for professional development and training, reimbursements for tuition costs for certificate or degree program, reimbursement stipends for teacher out-of-pocket costs for classroom supplies. And throughout your worksheet, you will have these drop downs where you can choose the cost category for the expenditure. You can also make notes, and sometimes your payroll company or your accountant may have made notes and to help you remember, and for DES, you can make those notes as well. And again, we want to make sure you always have your supporting documentation, whether that's payroll documents, whether that's benefit records, whether that's employee time cards, receipts, invoices, and other documentation. So we always want to make sure we have a yes, because we have our supporting documents. If you did not, you would put no, but best practice is you would always keep those receipts. Let's go ahead and move on to tab 4, rent, mortgage, and utilities. When we're talking about insurance in this section, I just want to make sure that we are clear that we're talking about property insurance, not health or benefit, health benefit insurance. So we are talking about property insurance. So in this section, again, we have our months, our by month and year, our amount that we are going to put in that we spent, and that cost category. Again, we have those options. If the options are in our drop down, the likelihood of it being an eligible expense is very slim. So we want to make sure we're capturing the categories and expenditures on these categories. So we would choose our category. Again, any additional notes, and again, receipts, bank statements, supporting documents. So some costs to look for in section 4: monthly rent or mortgage, again, property insurance. Um, Here's a tip: always check your monthly payment slips because it may be there. Liability insurance, utilities, which is gas, electricity, could be oil, water, sewer, telephone, cell phone, mobile phone, internet, and then other fees related to late payments or those utility costs. So we just want to make sure that we're covering the correct rent, mortgage, or utilities and those liability or property insurances. This is not where we would put our health insurance. All right, and again, all the amounts that we put here, and we'll see at the end, we'll go into the tab 1 for our total categories. All right, let's go on to tab 5 when we're talking about facilities, maintenance, and improvement. Just like the other tabs, we're going to have month and year. We're going to enter the amount that we spent, our cost category, those minor renovations, building or upgrading playgrounds, renovations to improve accessibility. Where I have those choices, we're going to pick any notes that we need to make. And then again, yes, a receipt. That could be a receipt from a contractor for payment. It could be, again, a bank statement. It could be an invoice marked paid. We want to make sure that we are keeping those receipts and updating them. So just like the other tabs, we're looking for some costs: minor renovations, building or upgrading playgrounds, and renovations to improve accessibility. All right, let's move on to worksheet 6, goods and services. Just like before, we've got month and year. We're entering our cost for that month. What was our cost category? Additional options and notes, and the receipt. In this one, we want to look for costs that are any material, good, or service necessary for the operation of a child care program. And because this is a little more general of a category, we want to make sure that we are documenting and using that optional notes section to be a little more specific and help us remember what those costs are. And again, we really want to make sure that we are considering that these are materials, goods, or services necessary for the operation of a child care management program. And we definitely encourage keeping all receipts in this section, saving original invoices, receipts, and bank statements. All right, let's move on to worksheet 7, personal protective equipment. Again, we're going to choose our month and year. We're going to enter the amount, our cost category. In this case, we are looking for costs: PPE, cleaning supplies like disinfectants, paper towels, masks, gloves, or safety glasses, and cleaning services. We're going to choose our category, make a note if necessary, and then make sure that we have all of our documentation, our receipts, and bank statements. Excellent. Thank you so much. Let's look at our next section, worksheet 8, equipment and supplies for public health emergency. We're picking our month and year again, the amount, our cost category, cost to look for our technology and business software upgrades to respond to the COVID-19 public health emergency, other equipment and supplies to respond to the COVID-19 health emergency. Again, this is a great place to put notes, and we want to make sure that we keep our receipts, those invoices, receipts, and bank statements, so that we are clear that the cost that we spent matches the category. And then let's look at our very last section, our mental health supports. Again, we're looking at our month, pulling down month, year, the cost that we are adding, our cost category, mental health supports for staff or children. Any notes that we had, we're going to put yes that we have our receipts and keep our receipts and note all of those costs. So if we go back to tab 1 now, after we have entered those costs, you can see that based on the category and information that we have entered, the worksheet has totaled of all the amounts of all the categories for us. We have our total grant to be received, total that to be used in the workforce, and then each of our categories have been broken down by what we spent. And then it shows us what is the remainder of the grant that we have available to spend and the remainder that we have to spend on the workforce. These totals can easily be added to your report each month. And we want to double check and make sure that the totals here match the totals in your reporting. Thank you, Tracy. So the worksheet is a way to make sure that cost reporting worksheet is a way to make sure that you are accurate and keeping good records of all your expenditures of your Arizona Child Care Stabilization Grant. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. So we thank you for watching our video today. We hope you found it useful. And please continue to check out the website to read more about our frequently asked questions and to check out our other resources.